the Vice President's argument that what Eric Holder, the Attorney General, was doing and looking at possibly prosecuting these people as partisan in nature? In other words, an attempt to exploit the situation to help get votes in the next election. A partisan move for partisan purposes. That's what the Vice President's accusing him of.
Yeah, Chris, for this reason, the initial scrub on these operations was made a couple of years ago. One person was turned up as having violated the law, and that person was punished. But beyond that, what we're talking about is waterboarding. That's what the Vice President is talking about. That's the enhanced interrogation techniques that the CIA used. That's the technique where you make a terrorist feel or be afraid of the idea that he is going underwater, when in fact you're not putting him underwater, but it does scare the heck out of him. We waterboarded precisely 3 people. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the guy that killed 3,000 people in New York, was the prime guy who got waterboarded, and we scared him, because that's all waterboarding is. We scared him. We waterboard, incidentally, hundreds of our own military personnel. They waterboard themselves in training to toughen themselves up. But we scared Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. When we scared him, he told us about three new plots that we didn't know about. One was to hit the Marines in North Africa. Another one was to hit the United States itself, again, a second time. And the last one was to hit the British at Heathrow Airport or another location. So Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, the guy who planned the attack that killed 3,000 New Yorkers, was scared. Now, at the same time, Mr. Obama's operatives here a few weeks ago shot 3 pirates through the head to save 1 hostage. Now, if you can shoot 3 pirates through the head to shoot them through the head to save 1 hostage. Why can't you waterboard the guy that killed 3,000 Americans to get information on new plans to hit this country?
Well, you're a military man.
That's a question that liberals have to answer.
Well, I think we all have to answer, not just liberals. What about the Geneva Conventions? And what about this technique they were using to click a gun next to somebody's head when he's blindfolded? No. They had a guy with a hood over his head, and they convinced they were about to hit him with a buzz saw. They had one guy they threatened to rape his mother in front of him. What about all that stuff?
Yeah. Geneva Convention, first, if you look at the Geneva Convention was analyzed by the lawyers in place, and they came to the conclusion, especially about waterboarding, because that's the primary thing, that since we do it to our own soldiers, by the hundreds, incidentally, and it doesn't hurt them, and it makes them tougher, and it doesn't hurt anybody. Khalid Sheikh Mohammed gained weight after he was waterboarded. We decided that since we do that to our own soldiers in training, we're not going to consider that torture. Now, the question for liberals is,
you know why we did that, though. I want to go on
if you consider that torture.
Okay.
But wait
well,
just
look,
a second.
you know why
if you consider that torture,
well, you're not putting you're not being honest here, Congressman.
Then are we torturing
did that
our
because
own
because the Chinese communists were doing it in Korea. So we did it to prepare our guys, GIs, in case they got picked up. You didn't give the context.
So what's wrong with that? So
well,
what's wrong with that?
You never explained why we were doing it, because we believed the enemy was torturing our prisoners. And we wanted to prepare them to be tortured. We didn't do it as part of their training. We said this is what happens if you're...
Well, you're wrong about that, Chris. Senator Levin was I'm sure, very shocked when he saw that we do it with our own folks. But the point is, if we do it, are we torturing American soldiers? You have to answer yes if you consider waterboarding to be torture. Are we torturing our own soldiers? Answer the question.
We're preparing them to face torture.
No, we waterboard them. We don't prepare them for waterboarding. We waterboard them. Are we torturing our own soldiers?
Look, you're getting into a game here. Mr. Hunter, I want you to listen to McCain here. Senator McCain, then you react to that yourself.
Okay.
Senator McCain on this issue.
I think that these interrogations, once publicized, helped al-Qaeda recruit. I think that the ability of us to work with our allies was harmed. And I believe that information, according to the FBI and others, could have been gained through other methods.
Mr. Hunter.
Yeah, Chris, if John McCain, my old friend, is suggesting that if we just talked nicely to Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, he would have told us about those plans to attack America, the Marine encampment at North Africa, and Great Britain.
Look, the proof is in the pudding.
Wait a second. Now, let me finish.
2 days.
Let me finish. Let me finish. We talked to Khalid Sheikh Mohammed for a long time, and we waterboarded him on multiple occasions. Now, if talking nice to him would have elicited that information, I'm sure that he would have put that off. But the real question for Debbie is this.
If I can jump in.
Debbie, here's a real...
Before they waterboarded him, so I'm not sure here about the facts.
They got valuable information. Duncan, they got valuable information from him when the
Hey,
okay, just stop for a second. I'm going to let Mr. Hunter talk.
Mr.
Hunter, you got 15 to 30 seconds here. Go ahead.
Okay, let me talk. Debbie, what you should really concentrate on is the fact that the Israelis use a much more stringent method of interrogation. I look forward to you asking for the Israeli Prime Minister to step down because they do it. Do you think they should stop doing it to protect the country?
The last time I checked, this is the United States.
So you're not going to ask the Israeli leadership to step down?
Mr. Hunter, that's kind of ridiculous.
We're talking about practices in the United States, and the United States doesn't torture. No one is above the law, including Dick Cheney, including the lawyers that
Waterboarding is not torture.
To require, well, I think that when the investigation is completed, it's quite possible that you'll be proven wrong. The FBI investigator that questioned him before the CIA stepped in and tortured him got more valuable information within a couple of days, as opposed to the weeks and weeks in which they got virtually nothing, that you can't even tie the information that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed gave to the CIA after they tortured him to those practices. No one is above the law.
The American SEALs torture.
Spiraling ever
so the
downward.
American SEALs torture themselves. The Air Force tortures itself, according to your definition.
That's not
of waterboarding is torture.
Preparing.
And there's no problem with Israel doing very enhanced methods of interrogation.
Okay, Congressman, even the most minimal intelligence could help you with this. I don't know why you're not applying it because you have it. Obviously, the service people know they're in training. They're not going to be killed. A captured person who's one of our enemy has no idea what we're doing when we submit him to water torture.
So, Chris, use your common sense. We scared Khalid Sheikh Mohammed. We scared him. We didn't hurt him. We scared him, and he gave up three potential terrorist plots, and you don't think it's worth it?
There isn't anyone that agrees that the information we got from him after he was tortured is tied to the torture. I disagree. No one agrees with that.
Direct quote from the CIA. Direct quote from the CIA. The interrogation methods gave us pivotal information. That's a direct quote from the CIA.
Okay, what are your limits? Mr. Hunter, what are your limits? What are your limits on what we can do to a prisoner?
I think what Americans, the standard should be, if we use it with our own soldiers in training, as we do waterboarding, then it should be allowed with people who have killed thousands of Americans.
Getting our troops ready for the torture they might face at the hands of another country as a detainee, to what we practice on our detainees. Those are apples and oranges.
Limit it?
We don't want. So you want our troops to be tortured?
So you're saying we can do it to our own soldiers, Debbie? You're saying we can do it to our own soldiers. We can't do it to terrorists.
Because the chance of them being subjected. Duncan, the chance of them being subjected to another country, we have to make sure that they can get ready for it. You're comparing apples and oranges.
Okay, by the way, thank you, Mr. Hunter. Mr. Hunter, you're hanging on this like a lifeboat, and I want to tell you something. Every service person who comes to serve our country, even the worst kind of boot camp like Parris Island, knows that there's always a chance of an accident. But they also know that none of the drill instructors intend to kill them, never believe that, ever, and therefore it's not the same as what happens to a terrorist who's picked up by us, and you know the difference. One's being threatened with death, and the other is being threatened with tough training.
We get them ready.
The people who go through survival training do not know what's going to come.